In the previous episode, we began to observe a wood duck family in the territory of the Manatee pack. My father Reynold had trouble with a black bear. We noticed that White-Paws and her family were more and more present in the dead-end clearing. July will be decisive. If the mother wolf respects our oath, we will soon be able to observe her pups. Fireweed, my favorite summer flower in the land of the wolf. It colors the cutting areas where it dances in the wind. A single plant is teeming with life. According to my observations, moose enjoy fireweeds. It is common to see them ruminating among these large flowers. The fireweed and elderberry gardens are perfect for anyone looking for company. This red fox kit has understood it well. Elderberries are a godsend for cedar waxwings. The American robin is also fond of it. This fox kid is part of Ginger's new litter, whom I often visit in the evening. My vixen friend passed on to her kits the trust she has placed in me for many years. Ginger's primary source of worry concerns wolves and bears. Every summer, she raises her kits in a pile of trunks under which they can take refuge in case of danger. This shelter turns out to be an impregnable fortress. However, the vixen must travel through her territory to hunt. In doing so, she exposes herself to bad encounters. Ginger knows what to do when she comes across a wolf. If Calmy comes any closer, the vixen will hide under the trunks. A second wolf. It's time to disappear. Hiawatha and Calmy know they have no chance of flushing out Ginger. When I explored the land of the wolf, I was shocked by the extent of the waste in the cutting areas. Nothing has really changed, since in northern Ontario and elsewhere in Canada, trees deemed to be worthless are still cut down and piled up in immense piles of residue that logging companies leave behind. Obviously, this raises questions about the ethics of forest industry practices. These ravaged environments allowed me to see how resilient wildlife is, because there are always species capable of adapting to the upheavals brought by humans. Over time, dead tree piles provide safe shelter for least chipmunks, woodchucks, red foxes, and many other small animals. Ginger knew the location of all the bunkers, allowing her to escape potential pursuers on her territory. If it had not been for these fortresses, she probably would have chosen somewhere other than the plantations to raise her young. In addition to piles of logging residue, forestry activities disrupted the natural environment with the proliferation of roads, culverts, and ditches, not to mention the appearance of clearings like that of the dead end. These disturbed habitats seem suitable for the manatus and certain birds, including killdeer. For the killdeer family, the smallest puddle is a pantry. It would take more than a wolf to frighten them. Obviously, the young killdeer are able to fly, hence their indifference towards Lewis. Besides, one of the parents always keeps watch. One can never be too careful. Other birds, like this evening grosbeak, also come to drink, feed, or take a bath. This is the case of a spotted sandpiper and its only chick. not to be confused with the solitary sandpiper. Killdeer are distinguished by the orange color of their tail as well as their two breast bands. If a wolf comes too close, the parents raise the alarm. White-Paws is just passing by. Lewis's mission is to watch the dead-end clearing. He will not follow his mother, even if it is tempting for him. The pink corydalis is a native Canadian flower that grows very well in disturbed environments, as logging areas. The white daisy and the common viper bugloss also thrive in this type of habitat, but these species are native to Eurasia. Introduced during the colonization, they are now part of the wild flora of the land of the wolf. The common viper bugloss and white daisy patches attract foragers. Predators like this crab spider are on the lookout. The beauty of this small ecosystem in no way erases the scars following the passage of mass destruction machines of the forest industry. In summer, man-made puddles and ditches sometimes become death traps for many creatures. If the water evaporates, it is a disaster. The misfortune of some makes the happiness of others. The killdeer feast on the corpses of minnows and tadpoles, with all due respect to Lady Frog. Swallowing such dried-out prey is not easy. These are our final images of the killdeer family. They clearly illustrate the great paradox of a wild world subject to the logging industry. We managed to make very interesting observations in an environment that would have put off many nature lovers. I think that over time, Monique, Reynald, and I have become as resilient as the viper bugloss, killdeer, and wolves. Fortunately, most of the Manidus pack territory remained pristine, and we could recharge our batteries in a universe unaltered by our peers. July mornings offer perfect moments for contemplation. No matter where my gaze falls, everything is poetry. As soon as the sun rises, the enchantment of mirages transfigures the landscapes. The wood duck's pond becomes a mirror. The ideal time to groom. In beavers, glands located near the anus secrete an oil allowing the species to waterproof its fur. Ducks have a gland in their rump. This gland secretes a sort of wax that most birds use to polish their feathers. The beaver grooms itself with its paws. The bird coats its beak or head with wax, and then spreads it on its plumage. Even if everything seems calm, a beaver must never forget he is in the land of the wolf. It was summer, and despite the warm weather, the manatees continued to frequent the open spaces of the plantations. We sometimes saw a member of the pack when we were keeping watch to observe another species. The wood duck's pond, for example, was very close to Hiawatha's almost daily commute. The presence of the pack leader in the home range of animals to which we were attached concerned us. Ginger, the vixen, shares her territory with the wolves. I admit that seeing Hiawatha roaming not far from the shelter of her kits worries me. The young foxes need to be careful, especially when the wind affects their sense of hearing and smell. For them, I am one of the harmless and amusing species, just like moose. How not to become attached to red foxes when you take time to watch them live. That said, it is difficult to remain impartial, to find a balance between the affection we have for foxes, moose, and beavers, and that we have for wolves. I wonder what emotions these moose and this young fox feel when they hear the wolf's song. I notice that the invisible howler worries more my current companions than my presence among them. I belong here, and it gives me a well-being I cannot express into words. or even with my camera. These animal encounters will inspire my artistic soul and allow me to express on canvas the feelings that words and technology cannot convey. Moose, a fox, fireweeds, elderberries, and birds. All precious elements for a future painting. The eastern bluebird likes elderberries, but we have never been able to film it eating them. On the other hand, as an artist, I was able to recreate the scene on canvas from my observations by integrating fireweeds and a young bull moose. Color harmony sometimes becomes a topic in itself. For example, the blue of the bird's plumage, the red of the berries, the pink of fireweeds, and the multiple shades of green of the vegetation, without forgetting the face of the young moose. The 2010 season was an incredible source of inspiration. From mid-July, we could see the tracks of the wolf pups in the dead-end clearing area. It was obvious that the adult wolves knew our habits and avoided taking the pups there at the times we were keeping watch. So we decided to risk everything by placing ourselves on the site at the beginning of the afternoon, a time of day where we were not accustomed to being there. Our initiative was crowned with success. Hiawatha did not expect to see us. This is the first time he bristles his fur like this and sends us warning barks. If this were a truly serious warning sign, the pups would run away. The truth is the pack leader hates surprises. Now that we have seen his pups, we hope he will overcome his irritation and accept we observe them. One last look to ensure everything will go well between us and his offspring. Successful wager. Hiawatha walks away. He leaves us with what the Manatee pack has the most precious: its succession, its future. to describe our joy and our gratitude to White-Paws and Hiawatha. This first contact with their pups filled us with delight and made us very confident for the future. The pups had studied us from a distance, somewhat distractedly, which opened the door wide to a regular follow-up of their development. In the next episode, the pups will gradually reveal their personalities to us. The shyest, the most daring, the most lovable. We will become attached to some of them and share their daily life, with the blessing of their mother, White-Paws. A wonderful story to follow in the land of the wolf.
Skak me kwebe masse ganishna habe haya o mahingen wichi